I knew I was coming back to LA, but my first job was actually at the LA City Attorney's office. And I remember one girl came up to me, and I swear I think she was trying to make it a compliment. And she was just like, I really admire you. You don't care about prestige or doing like what people would expect a Yale Law degree holder to do. You're going to work at the LA City Attorney. You're going to help your home. That is so nice.
Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Welcome to this episode of Bourbon and Proof, where we interview those who have been both successful at law and life. And today we're very, very honored to have on Marissa Roy. How are you, Marissa?
I'm doing well. I'm excited to drink some whiskey.
Well, this is what we like about somebody that's running for public office, that they like to drink whiskey and make very good decisions. And speaking of drinking whiskey, making very, very, very good or medium or bad decisions, we have our co-host, Mauro Fiore.
Hello, Bob. Thank you, and welcome to Marissa.
Thank you.
Yeah. Have you ever met Marissa before?
No, I met her today,
Really?
just before we started taping.
All right. Well, we have something. We always start with a pour. And Mauro pulled off something. We looked at your palette. We looked at the notes. And we had a conversation when we first met. I think Mauro picked you out of beauty. Mauro, tell us about what you brought.
Well, I heard that she liked the Boss Hog, which is the highest end bourbon in the Whistle Pig line. They do a new release every year. There's been probably 7 or 8.
Now they're on 12. I think Jaggernaut was 12, I think, or 11.
Yeah, so they put one out every year. I've had the privilege of probably drinking every single one of them. This one is probably from 4 years ago. This is the Lapulapu, and I think this is the best one ever. What do you think, Bob?
That is my favorite as well. So it's hard to find these ones anymore, but man, this one's good.
So we are going to indulge in some Boss Hog. This Boss Hog 8, and so it's the 8th release, the Lapu.
That is beautiful.
And not only does she like bourbon, but she likes getting bad guys. So, I mean, you're Assistant Attorney General right now. Is that kind of, what's your title? Is that it?
I'm a Deputy Attorney General, which I have to, of course, be the lawyer, give the disclaimer. It's for official titles for identification purposes only. I'm not here representing the department or the Attorney General.
We'll make sure we edit that out for sure. All right, so cheers. This is to
Cheers.
Mauro, the street lawyers and street justice.
Lawyers and Street Justice.
Oh my God.
That's the best one. It's the best one.
Every time I have it, I always think, damn, it is really good.
It is really good.
You shouldn't give someone like a whiskey that's going to make them speechless when they're supposed to do a whole podcast.
Well, then you're going to drink the rest of the bottle and you won't be so speechless. But that's one thing, I mean, because you're running for city attorney of LA, right? I mean,
Don't mind if I put a little more splash in my glass.
Come on, man. You got to share the wealth. This guy. But I mean, do you have to be cognizant of these things, being in the public eye? Because you're big on social media. I've seen a lot of your reels. A lot of it going viral lately. You're speaking the truth. But are you ever afraid that, like, shit's going to come back to haunt me? You know what I mean?
I think what's really important when you're running for office is you want to speak to people directly. You want to be genuine. You want to be authentic. This is the first time I've been a candidate, but I've worked and helped many women run for office. I used to run a PAC called California Women's List that helped women run for office. So it's not necessarily my first time being behind the scenes of a campaign. I think the challenging thing now as an attorney isn't actually, watching less what I say, but actually being less legal. Like every single time I do one of those reels, you should see the first draft. I'll be like, there was copious evidence behind the tiara. And then my social media person will just be like, stop. Like, be less legal, more angry, is what she keeps telling me.
I mean, I like that. They always tell Mauro, I mean, I've never heard you speak legalese. I don't think you even know.
No, I'm really good at barely legal, actually.
He also speaks Pig Latin fluent. Mauro, how many languages do you speak besides Pig Latin?
I speak Spanish, English, and a little bit of Sicilian.
And I've actually seen this guy speak Farsi to people sometimes.
Oh, I do speak Farsi, but the stuff I know in Farsi is just pure filth. Because I grew up in LA with all the Persians, and so I know how to I could entertain a bunch of Persian guys at a poker game with the stuff I know, but that's about it.
Have you ever investigated any crimes for people having illegal poker games that may have been shot up in the Hollywood Hills?
Yeah, an unsolved crime.
No?
No, I
Okay,
will
okay.
say nothing that interesting. I mean, I am a big poker player myself, though.
Really?
So I am.
Poker and whiskey. Wow. Wow.
My dad's card playing family, and so I've been playing since I was 9. But I think kind of like politics, poker is all about interpreting people's impressions of you. And so I walk into a poker room. Usually I'm like the only young woman there. And everyone wants to underestimate me. And so I just let them and I play my poker. And every time I win, I'm like, oh, it must be beginner's luck. And then they never see me coming.
But whenever do you find that more men want to play in hands with you just to try to impress you?
You know,
I feel like it's a psychological thing. Like I've seen that happen where it's like, oh, she's in the hand. I would love just to like. It's almost like they're card playing, trying to flirt and be machismo, right? So you catch them speeding a lot, I would assume.
you know, it's so funny because like I'm so focused on the game that I wouldn't even know if that was happening.
He's coughing over there. He's so verklempt. The show before this, we were having some commonalities, and Raul Ravapudi was talking about the child targeting video game or Google, all these things that they're doing for addiction, right? And they're working with with your office. So how does that work for viewers and listeners whenever you have a state entity, kind of like prosecuting a case? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, so this is what's really interesting. My entire career, I've represented, cities, counties, now the state, doing though consumer protection and civil rights. A lot of people don't realize that local and state governments can do this. But in California, the Attorney General and any city over 750,000, that includes LA, can sue any business for anything unlawful or unfair or deceptive under the unfair competition law. And so we can be huge partners with the consumer bar. And so this case is a great example. So the attorney generals had been investigating, it was a multi-state coalition investigating social media companies and filed in October 2023 against Meta. And we have pre-filing subpoena power, so we can collect documents before filing a lawsuit and do the evaluation. And so we had already gathered quite a bit of evidence coming in, which also then, when we filed directly into the MDL up north, there were already personal injury plaintiffs, and it really allowed for some great collaboration. And they've been such great partners throughout discovery. And so one of the reasons I'm running for LA City Attorney is we just don't do that work, and we really could be. And it would be such a huge boon to consumers in this bar.
It's almost like you could be a lot more proactive with helping kids.
Absolutely.
Rather than reactive.
Yes.
I mean, could you just walk, because a lot of people just don't realize that that's the work that people are trying to do,
Yeah.
but not a lot of people talk about it, right? So like, what are some things that, I'll let you get your soapbox in a moment here. Running for City of LA Attorney, what are some things that you hope to change?
I mean, the biggest one is the city attorney's office could be the largest public interest law firm in Los Angeles. I mentioned you can sue any business for anything unlawful, unfair, or deceptive. There are 500 attorneys at the city attorney's office, yet, and like 1,000 when you take all of the paralegals and investigators. Out of 1,000 people in that office, 42 do affirmative, according to the city attorney. And
What does that mean, affirmative?
affirmative. So anytime you are suing a business for anything unlawful, unfair, or deceptive. And that's why we haven't really seen a lot come out of this office. Like LA's the capital of wage theft. $2.5 billion are stolen every year from workers. We've only seen 1 or 2 cases filed in the last couple of years.
That's crazy. So
I know.
like, why wouldn't, well, you would think the city would be more proactive against those things to be able to recoup some dollars. I mean,
Right.
obviously. I mean, would you ever think about going after some unscrupulous lawyers?
I mean, if anyone is a business that is breaking the law, that's something that we'd be looking at. And so I think for me, the top 2 gaps that I see are workers' rights, because that's directly stealing out of families' pockets, but then also tenants. They're, LA, like we're majority renter city, and a majority of renters are rent burdened, spending over 1/3 of their income on rent. And a lot of people are just one paycheck away from falling into homelessness. So if we actually want to solve our housing and homelessness crisis, we need to be doing more tenant protection work. In the last couple of years, there have been 13,000 complaints of tenant harassment, and only 4 administrative fines from the housing department, 0
that's
city attorney
weak.
cases. It's so bad.
I mean, it's almost like we always say we don't even get like the state bar involved, for instance, because they don't do shit.
They don't do anything.
They don't do anything.
You know, I actually had this conversation with the old city attorney, Mike Fuhr, and he asked me. I remember a friend of mine was a big supporter of his. He had a fundraiser dinner room when he was running, and I think for the second time, but I think he lost. And he's like, Maura, what do you think the city could do to, like, you know, either reduce litigation, reduce cost? And the easiest thing the city could do, I think, is my office especially. I mean, I've handled hundreds and hundreds of premises liability cases against the city. The city's never going to fix the sidewalks, as far as I can tell, in the city of LA. It's a disaster, even though there's been many class actions, settlements, everything. But so they're never going to fix them. But the one thing the city could do is that when they get these government claim for damages, maybe once in a while look at them. You know you're in trouble. Call up the plaintiff lawyer and settle the case.
Yeah.
Why do we got to go all the way to expert designation on every fucking case?
You know, so there was
when we could settle a lot of them.
who's the LA controller, whoever.
Kenneth Mejia.
He's awesome.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
Have you seen it? Have you seen it?
He's the guy that's friends with Scott Corwin.
So he's the one that does all the viral videos of like what's going on with like the money going out. And I commented on the page and like we had a dialogue and I said the exact same thing. I was like, you know how you stop these huge payouts? Actually look what's going on and then be reasonable. Because all these verdicts, we had
I would settle all these cases.
Max Lee in our office just had like a $3.5 million verdict on a sidewalk trip and fall because he had to. They didn't offer anything. They didn't look at the case. No experts. And it was like, guys, what are you doing? Like this could have been settled for a fraction of that 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, it's getting out of control now. I mean, I think, so when Mike, I used to work in the office when Mike was there, and when he was there, like he would exceed the liability budget sometimes between like 36 million. Like in her first year as city attorney, the current city attorney, Heidi Feldstein Soto, exceeded it by 100 million.
What?
Then the second year, 200 million, and now on track for 250. And it's kind of because of like 3 main things. One, she has 0 litigation experience, so she doesn't know how to value a case. There isn't a process for proper valuing of cases. So you're settling the right things or bringing the right things to trial. She's just bringing so many things to trial and getting nuclear verdicts. And then the second is she keeps outsourcing to really expensive outside counsel.
That's the problem. We saw these huge bills they're sending, by the way, outside counsel that aren't good. And they're charging them $1,000 an hour for BS stuff. And we know on the other side, it's like we're going to have a feeding frenzy with these firms because they're just as bad. But one thing I was frustrated with the current one is she's been radio silent during, we've literally had a federalization of Los Angeles, people getting kidnapped, and she ain't done shit.
I know.
And it's so frustrating because it's like, we got to try to do stuff. And it's like, come on, you're a city attorney. You have the biggest law firm in the country.
Yes.
Do something.
And
And
also,
the city is not, the payment now on cases is taking, I just got paid, as a matter of fact, I got paid today on a case that settled like almost a year and a half ago. But the city attorney who, what's his name? Like, you know who I'm talking about, the bald guy's been there forever.
Steve
McGuire.
I like Steve a lot.
Yeah, I like Steve too. Steve was like, what do you want from me, man? Because they don't have any money. They're like selling bonds and shit to pay settlements. It's literally selling bonds. And we've had like 10 OSCs regarding settlement, and the judge just rips McGuire, you know? But McGuire really
It's
has
not his fault. There's
nothing
nothing
he
to
can do
do.
about
Like
it.
they're all good lawyers. I like Steve. By the way, can we open up? Can we just do another pour real quick?
Yeah, let me get
I saw her take a
5-second pour.
So the one thing I do, I don't collect much of anything except for the caps of Boss Hogs. So I have like, we cap it, we save it. And they're all different. All these little characters on the top, they're like little figurines that I could use in my Dungeons and Dragons games.
Yeah, this one looks like this one looks.
Don't
like,
tell me you play Dungeons and Dragons, play poker, and drink whiskey.
I do not.
We would be super best friends. This one's so good.
I'd never played Dungeons and Dragons. I was interested in girls.
Meanwhile, this guy played Magic the Gathering, the card game, which is way, way worse. Oh, let me play your Pokemon +5 on top of your Dumbo Dragon.
Shut up.
Yeah. Tell me that's not true. Look at him.
It's true.
It's true. He played Magic the Gathering. Wow, that took a hard detour. Well, anyways, going back to Marissa. Like, how did you get into the public service work? Because it ain't sexy, and it certainly doesn't pay well.
No, it doesn't. And my mother constantly reminds me of that. You
Like,
know,
did you go to some fancy law school too?
I did. I went to Yale, and so I remember.
Christ, I feel horrible now. Well, I went to an unaccredited law school in an office building, and I didn't go to college. So I think we have a little bit of a different background, different pedigrees.
I mean, I want to hear your story now.
That's pretty
I'll
good.
listen to, it's actually, I think the third or fourth episode I did of Bourbon and Proof, I interviewed Borrow. And it was
Pretty funny.
if you go on YouTube, it was like hundreds of thousands of views because it was Morrow and he told the most ridiculous stories. And now he's the co-host. I was like, holy shit, this is like, they were real stories.
God, Yale, huh? Wow.
Yeah.
Wait, Morrow, what state is Yale in?
In Connecticut.
Wow, see, he does know trivia.
I do know trivia.
You know, it was my first time ever leaving California, SoCal. And so the first winter they named it the polar vortex. And you know, when they name a winter, it is going to be bad. And so I knew I was coming back to LA, but you know, my first job was actually at the LA City Attorney's Office. And I remember, when I was, Yale has this thing in your last year when you're graduating called 40 nights. So 40 nights before you graduate, you do a party every night. And they're a little sloppy. They're nerds. They don't exactly know how to hold their liquor. And one girl came up to me, and I swear I think she was trying to make it a compliment. And she was just like, I really admire you because you don't care about prestige or doing like what people would expect a Yale law degree, degree holder to do. You're going to work at the LA City Attorney. You're going to help your home. That is so nice. It's just like, what do I even say?
Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, those are like blue blood East Coasters, you know. They probably have 10 generations that went to Yale, and they have a house in the Hamptons.
I know they don't. I was
Winston
definitely.
Thomas the Fourth.
Yeah.
You're not far.
How's my ascot look today?
Yeah, you know, I'm born and raised in Southern California, man, and I can tell you, I just don't do good in the cold.
No.
I
I went on his honeymoon to Iceland, and he almost died there in the cold. That's like, this is a true story. It was actually one of the shows. But when I went to undergrad DC, a lot of kids came out from California we were in the sports fraternity, and I'll never forget, they would always last at most a year. They'd come out and be like, what the fuck is this? Like, we're out of here. We're going back to Southern California.
Like I always tell people, man, in Southern California, the dead of winter, it's 60 degrees.
Yeah.
And that's the coldest day in January.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's when I'm wearing my parka. You know? So yeah, it's like, geez, these people who live in that kind of weather, it's just like our buddy Nick Rowley lives in Montana in Big Sky, which is high up. It's like below zero for like a month. You know, it's like, how the hell does he do that?
Yeah, it's like you don't have to live that way, guys. There's SoCal.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess the way I got into public service, I mean,
You had to be inspired earlier than where did you go to undergrad?
I went to USC. I'm a Trojan.
Yeah.
But no, it was really like when I was 16, Proposition 8 was on the ballot to take away gay marriage.
yeah.
And, you know, my younger brother, Austin, is gay. And I had, you know, long before I was ever an attorney, I was a very, very protective older sister because, you know, he didn't have to be out for me to know. And I had defended him from bullies his entire life. You know, people who would say he's not a normal boy or whatever, you know, growing up in the 90s. And so to watch my entire state vote to take away his future was like, it was really one of the moments where I was like, my God, people are voting on my family. And that was the San Francisco city attorney that sued and overturned Prop 8. Wow. And the reason I went to Yale was Yale had a partnership with the San Francisco city attorney's office. So in law school, I worked pretty much, you know, sometimes mostly, I was an okay law student, but like I ditched a lot of classes because I thought it was more important to work with the San
That's
Francisco.
true. We go to a lot of law schools. Martin, to actually talk to law schools, we always say like, don't do law review.
Yeah.
Get out and work. No, but I remember so I was not in California yet, I don't think, whenever that had happened, but it was national news. And I just remember thinking like, this is so stupid. And propositions now are out of control in California. And I told our lobbying group, I was like, can we start a proposition to end propositions? And like, well, that doesn't really fit with like the constitutionality of people having the power. I was like, no, it's whoever has the most money right now literally wins the proposition every time. When I grew up in Pittsburgh, I remember a proposition one time, ever that we had one. It was, are we going to get taxed more to build new stadiums for the Steelers and Pirates? And people were like, yes, that sounds amazing. That's the only time. It was Prop A and Prop B, and that was it. We have like 50 on the ballot every voting cycle.
Well,
It's silly.
And the thing is, it's actually like in doing a lot of the good work lawyers are doing. Like there have been a couple of times propositions have been the bane of my existence. Like in law school, I remember San Francisco had gotten the big lead paint judgment, and it was $1 billion judgment against lead paint companies for all of the harm that they had caused kids and families. And the lead paint companies tried to put a ballot measure that would say the state should pay for it, not them. And they rephrased it in like some really misleading way of like, make sure the state pays for remediation. And luckily a judge caught it and didn't let it get on the ballot. But I just remember thinking it would have been so misleading if it had. Yeah.
They actually here in Nevada, they had a proposition by Uber to limit the amount that attorneys can earn and limit the amount of damages that consumers can have. And they were winning on it because they were messaging and spending so much money, but lawyers here in Las Vegas sued, took it up, went to the Supreme Court, and they said it was so misleading on the ballot. Mm-hmm. But it's like lawyers made a difference to make sure that consumers didn't get screwed.
That didn't go through here in Nevada? They
got
tried?
Killed because of that, because of lawyers took it to the top, and the Supreme Court said, you are right, this is so misleading. And they're doing it right now in California. They're starting this, they already did it with uninsured motorists, and it's to limit their exposure. They don't want to have people be employees, workers' rights.
Yep.
So they actually had a trade-off recently where they're letting them unionize. So I heard, and I hope they do, I don't know if you've heard this, but they're going to let the Uber drivers rideshare unionize, which they should have.
That would be
done a long time ago.
amazing. Yeah,
Yes.
it's funny. My first cases.
How can they unionize if they're not employees?
That's exactly the point. They should be able to because they're getting screwed.
Right. My first cases were misclassification, actually, at the city attorney's office, misclassification of port trucking drivers. And right after our case was filed, Uber put that ballot initiative about misclassification, particularly to protect themselves. And I just remember, I think LA had sued at that point. Just every single time I was in an Uber, you'd get a push notification, vote against this ballot measure, vote against. And it was just like, they got to do that because it's their company. They can have corporate speech. It just showed how much market power they had. And that's why it got passed. And it was just such a shame, the proposition system being used to really, trick people into voting against their interests.
Yeah, and that's why, we can go on about this, but take the money you're putting in propositions or running, like, you know how much I hate, like, when my good friends have to ask us for money. Like, I'm going to give them money anyway. Like, someone that might have walked in the door in the back there, like, we'll give you money no matter what. But he must hate asking for money.
No, he doesn't hate it. He doesn't.
No, but it sucks because, like, there should be a limit on any person or corporation should be able to spend, because it just becomes a race to which billionaire is going to give me a blank check so I can win an election. Stupid.
Yeah, I will say that has been an interesting thing about running for office, because I'm not taking any corporate money.
Nice.
And my opponent is taking
Oh, damn.
any money.
I have a corporation, so sorry.
You're an individual too.
No.
I can hit you up after. But we outraised her last time.
Really?
Yeah, we outraised her in the last fundraising
Look, she's just
period.
not doing a good job.
Well, I think it's also just getting people excited about what this role could be. We had triple the amount of donors. And so I think just corporations can spend a lot of money, but I do think that our best weapon against that is making sure that we're really educated and involved, particularly with local and state elections, because that's where they try to hide everything.
Do you ever feel like you're like in a Batman movie? You have, like, Harvey Dent's running for city attorney like every fucking Batman movie. And there's always like a bad guy trying to get him or manipulate him, and then he turned into Two-Face. Sorry to spoiler alert for you there, Morrow, but that's what happens.
In the new Batman?
Like in all of them.
What about the one with the penguin?
By the way, did you see Colin Farrell as Penguin? I mean, it's phenomenal.
When did that come out?
It's out. I mean, I think it's on HBO, and he's on. I mean,
Is it a show or it's a
It's
movie?
like a miniseries, a show.
And he's the penguin?
You would not believe it's him. I think he won.
Do you know Colin Farrell's a lawyer?
No, he's not.
Yeah, he is.
That's fucking
From
false.
Ireland.
That's Gerard Butler.
Oh, no, you're right. These guys are all the same.
I got a live
They
moral
got that-
fact checker.
They got that stupid accent. They're the same shit.
So I lost $300,000 because of Gerard Butler.
Why?
It's true, and I told him to his face. I have a video of it. I got to find this. But when I was on Are You Smarter Than Fifth Grader, and I was at the $300,000 question, I walked with 175K because the question was about essentially the movie 300, but the movie didn't come out yet. Oh. And I told, and it was like, and it's a third grade. It was like during the Peloponnesian War in 35 BC, Athens was battling what city-state? And I'm on watching the show. Yeah, I'm on the show. I say it like 50 times. Like, dude, I'm just not like, I'm a fucking poor kid. Like, I need this money. Like, I can't gamble when I think that. I didn't do the slot machine top off or whatever it is.
So you knew the answer and you pussed out?
Yeah, at the end, that's what happened.
What a
But,
wuss.
and then the movie came out, and I was like, man. But I saw Gerard Butler randomly. It's LA. You just see people randomly. I was like, hey, man, you cost me $300,000. Then we just started talking, and we're on video, and we're like, yeah, because your movie, you delayed it 3 months. You cost me $300,000. But, he did have a cool accent, and he should be on Bourbon Approved. Gerard Butler, if you're watching, you are in the law space. We'd love to have you on Bourbon Approved, Ireland. Although you're not from Ireland, you're Scottish, but we'd love to have you.
He's Scottish?
I think so.
That's even worse. You
were just in Scotland playing golf.
I did go to Scotland, and unequivocally the worst place I've ever been.
Oh my God! Please don't.
I went
please.
in August, okay, and it was 50 degrees and raining and cold in August. So I asked one of the guys I met there. I said, "Is it ever hot here?" No, never. This is summer. I mean, I don't know how people live there, man. It's crazy.
That's why they make such good scotch. Gotta have something.
Actually, that's very true. That's how they developed
the
it.
worst weather. Nice country, but just very bad weather.
Yeah. So if people are, so how does the city attorney race work? Like, when is voting for it? It's November? Are you November ballot?
No, I'm June 2026.
Wow, you have a lot of lead time.
I know, a lot of lead time, but the purpose.
So we gotta release this episode right around the hot
So is there
peak
like a
season.
ballot, like a runoff or something, or just anyone who runs gets on the ballot?
Well, you have to, in February, there's going to be what's called filing week. You have to get 500 signatures to qualify for the ballot. Right now, I think there's basically just two candidates, me and the incumbent. And so that means it would end in June. It would be a knockout primary.
Wow.
And so the reason I started so early is because it's really important, I think, a lot of people just don't know about this role. It's one of the most significant, least understood roles. But whenever I tell them, like, hey, like, you should have an attorney who is like fighting the Trump administration. You should have an attorney who is fighting for workers' rights and tenants' rights. People get really excited to think that they could have an attorney who's fighting for them, and they just didn't even know that was a possibility. And so a lot of the reason I've started so early is
What's wrong with the Trump administration?
I mean, do we have another 2 hours? I was outside counsel for LA County suing the Trump administration the first time. So, like, I have done so many of those lawsuits. And the fun thing about suing Trump is they're actually not that smart. So, like, they do things that are blatantly unconstitutional. All you just have to do is file the lawsuit.
And that's what I've learned. And I mean, I don't know if we could talk about this. So I recently talked to somebody very high up at some level, and I was asking them, like, is this the reason they're doing X, Y, Z? And they were like, she was like, honey, they ain't that smart. And she's like, they're just doing stuff because they don't know. They just do it. They don't care about the law. They don't know. It's not like they're not in some grand master plan. They're just creating chaos.
No, there is no grand master plan. They are throwing spaghetti at the wall and hoping it sticks, which is why it's so important to be really aggressively fighting them, because they are just banking on people being exhausted and not taking up the fights, and then just kind of winning by default. And that's why the fact that the city attorney, she went on record at the Sherman Oaks Homeowners Association.
Oh, God, I saw this.
Oh, did you see that? And she was like,
Did you see this?
No.
Dude.
she was like, I think the exact quote, if I could remember.
Is this the one
it.
where she was talking about insurance? Is that the one?
No, it was about suing. So you
said-
saw her, you said her name off air. You didn't even like this person. You knew her name.
Yeah, no, I mean, I saw a video where she was talking about how the liability claims are costing too much in insurance or whatever, when there's like no insurance, is there? I don't know. It was just weird.
Yeah, I mean, well, in this one, she said, we've elected not to be at the forefront of litigation against the Trump administration because their actions aren't affecting us. And that was in March 2025, by the way. And so we'd already had a few months. And you look at cities like San Francisco, Boston,
Proactive.
so proactive. They're fighting. And it's like, that's what we need right now. Because also, like, I sympathize a lot with the people who are at law firms because Trump is targeting them. The city's in the best position to be fighting because we can take a
Especially in
hit.
California, too.
100%.
Go.
Yeah. And I mean, that's why I'm so proud to be at the Attorney General's office. AG Bonta loves to say that we sue Trump about once a week, sometimes more. And it's great. Like, I think we need that energy.
He was on Bourbon Approved.
So this
Yeah,
so
he's fantastic.
Did you know he was on?
Yeah. I
he
did
was
know.
great. So
I was harassing him a little.
he was harassing him. So he came on, and it comes with this full security detail. We had so much time to shoot, and he was at the end, so he had to push back. So if you watch this episode of Bourbon Approved, we were 4 episodes in, and Mara and I are hammered, and I'm trying. So we were trying to get him really drunk. So we were giving him a lot of pours, heavy pours. Like now he's all I love. I mean,
My
H.
favorite
Bonta.
Rob Bonta story. We were kind of rehearsing, doing our moot for the motion to dismiss in Meta, and it's a 30-state action. So you have South Carolina, you have Virginia, you have California, Colorado, Kentucky. You have everyone in the room mooting, and Rob Bonta just walks in to our conference room in Oakland, and everyone kind of stops and looks at him and is not really sure what to do. And he's like, just carry on. So I carry on. And then he starts interrupting with questions. And the questions were so good. It was like he had been in the drafting room with the papers, with us the whole time. And I think he is such a model for, I go back and forth, honestly, about whether attorney positions should be elected at all. I think that experience is so important, and knowledge of kind of how government works is so important. And it's really hard sometimes for voters to evaluate these things. That's how you have the current city attorney who has zero litigation experience, zero government experience. A.G. Bonta is so smart and just, again, felt like he was in the case with us. And I think that's the mark of a really, really good elected attorney.
And really good hair.
Oh my God, such good hair. The best hair. You don't have to edit that out. I will tell A.G. Bonta, he has incredible hair.
We commented so many times about that. But but you wouldn't, would you be LA City Marissa Roy? But what's the title is it City Attorney Roy? What would you be called?
Just call me Marissa.
No, but once you're elected, you can't.
No, I think that actually we should have more electeds do that. I think right now people don't feel like they have a connection to their city attorney's office. I think actually the city's attorney should feel accessible to people.
Yeah.
And so,
You're representing people that voted for you.
Absolutely. And your client, she's always very fond of saying, my only client's the city. And it's that's not true. California Business and Professions Code 17204 says otherwise. Your client's also the people of the state of California, and you need to act like it.
Fuck yeah. And that's how we're going to end this episode of Bourbon Approved, because that was such a point. That was awesome. You should run for politics.
Thanks.
Are you going to run commercials? Are you going to do commercials?
I don't. Oh, you mean the ads and the?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to have to, unfortunately. It's a weird thing. It's the irony of I'm suing Meta and literally need to post on Instagram.
I feel this all the time. Because
I'm just, it's awful. It's awful. I have this relationship with social media where it's I hate you. I'm suing you. I've devoted my past 2 years of my life to fighting you, and I need you.
I feel so bad, talking shit on Meta and all these Uber and all these companies that they own. It's but we're putting on your platform. But I guess, but you can see when they're trying to push it down. Whatever. Well, thank you for watching and listening to this episode of Bourbon Approved. Obviously, the Bourbon Approved of Marissa Roy was the Boss Hog 8. We'll show you. We actually should do a tasting one time. But by the way, Whistlepick, if you're watching or listening, just give us a lineup of all the Boss Hogs. We will come to your campus. We'll do a 3-day tour. We'll drink all the Boss Hogs, nothing but that.
We can put a link on the Bourbon Approved website straight to the distillery for online sales.
Online sales, yes. Mara, if you had a bottle of Boss Hog, what would it be called? This would be good.
What would mine be called? The El Padrino.
All right, thank you guys. That
means the Godfather.
I would actually buy that.
That means the Godfather.
It's good. We're going to go on a tangent. I have a whole theory of whiskey. It's totally not backed by facts. But my theory of whiskey is that you can trace the taste of whiskey to its history with colonialism, imperialism, and kind of
What's wild is I believe that in very much the same thing.
Yeah.
Your palate is based on where your ancestor grew up and what it is, and yeah,
Right.
I mean,
like Indian whiskey tastes like Scotch because we were colonized until recently. And then, you've got Oaxacan whiskey, and what's so interesting, zero influence of British colonialism, but like the highest biodiversity of corn in the world. And they do such fucking interesting things.
It's a
with
high
whiskey.
corn
It's
whiskey.
so good.
We were trying to source it for it because Keith Bremer brought us a bottle one time of the whiskey from there, and it's very high corn.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Sierra Norte purple. You should try it.
look at that. You learn something new every day, Mauro.
Yes, I will try to dig some up.
All right, thank you, everybody.